Everyone, and welcome to the 1 p.m. to 1:30 p.m. session of the 2016 Open Simulator Community Conference. As a reminder to our in-world and web audience, you can view the full conference schedule at conference.opensimulator.org and tweet your questions and comments to @OpenSimCC with the hashtag OSCC16. This session, we're happy to introduce a terrific presentation called Open Simulator Statistics. Our speaker today is Maria Korolov, and Maria probably doesn't need much of an introduction to everyone in the audience, but I'm going to go ahead and give it anyway, just because it's so impressive. Maria writes about enterprise security for CSO Magazine and is editor and publisher of Hypergrid Business, my favorite, an online publication focusing on enterprise applications of metaverse virtual environments. Also, Maria has over 20 years of experience as a business and technology journalist, including reporting for the Chicago Tribune, Reuters, UPI, and AP. She was managing editor of the Moscow Daily and bureau chief of the Shanghai Business News Bureau. Today, she lives in Massachusetts, writes technology feature stories, edits nonfiction books about China, and runs an influential blog about immersive technology. Welcome, Maria, and attendees. Let's begin the session.
Well, thank you very much, Kate, for that introduction. Can everybody hear me okay? I'm not hearing any no's, so I assume that the answer is yes. As Kay mentioned, I edit Hypergrid Business. I've been doing that for 7 years. And every month I collect OpenSim statistics from all the grids. So I look at all the public grids. I looked at their active user numbers. I look at their registrations. I look at their region counts in terms of standard region equivalents, because some grids have bigger regions than others. And I put it all together into a monthly report, and I'm proud to say I haven't missed a stats report yet. Woohoo! So that's a lot of monthly stats reports that I've put together. This has been a very weird year for OpenSim. We've had some ups and downs in all the statistics. We've had some outages. We had some new grids. We had some old grids kind of falling off. And the big story this year has been the continuing growth of movement to the hypergrid. There are now 33,000 active users total in OpenSim, which does include some double counting, since a person can be active on more than one grid. So if you've logged into more than one grid over the course of a month, you will show up as an active user in both places. Now that's down a little bit from its peak of 35,000 in the summer. That was just before Avacon had an outage, and Avacon is one of the oldest grids in OpenSim, and they've been down ever since then. They've got some server issues and that they're still working on. So that's the little fall off that happened in the summer. So the blue area in this chart is all the hypergrid users. The dark orange area is in-worlds, which is currently the biggest closed commercial grid, so you can't hypergrid into other grids. And the yellow region at the bottom is all the other grids that are closed. So as you can see from this chart, there's been a dramatic shift over the last couple of years or so to the hypergrid. If you're a closed grid, unless you have a very specific reason for that, like you're an educational grid, or you have a particular role-playing game that you want to, have custom avatars for just that game and custom content, or there's some other reason why it needs to be closed. For the most part, being open to the hypergrid means that anybody can access your grid from all over, and you're not limited to just the people and the content who are resident on your grid, but it opens you up to the entire metaverse. So this has been a dramatic shift for OpenSim. I'm particularly enthusiastic about it because I love the hypergrid. It's in the title of Hypergrid Business. I'm a big fan of it. But there is a role in place for closed grids as well, especially for the enterprise sector, which I'm also a big fan of. The number of public grids has dropped a little bit over the past year or so, and the part of it is the data gathering. There's no way to know exactly the total number of grids that are out there. I go through Google searches. People send me links to new grids. They pop up in various directories in social media, and I track them that way. By public grid, I mean a grid that you can create an account on or you can teleport to. So there's been some consolidation. Some of the larger grids have been getting larger, and some of the smaller grids have been kind of falling off the charts altogether. Land area is continuing to go up steadily. Now there's a big jag up and down on this chart, and that has to do with the virtual worlds grid, which had just giant a bit of wide open landscape, which is technically speaking land, so I'm counting it as land. But they loaded it up and then they took it down again, so that explains the jump up and then the jump down. But as you can see, otherwise the general trend is upwards, and I think that's a sign of the benefits of OpenSim, is that people can have land to play with, very low cost land to play with. And this is one of the major selling points of OpenSim, after, of course, the hypergrid and the ability to make backups of all your stuff. Another growing field for OpenSim is the Kitely Market. The number of products for sale, they're now over 16,000 in different variations, and they deliver to over 160 grids. And Ilan Tachner will be on a panel tomorrow to give some more details about what's happening. You don't have to be on a hypergrid to accept deliveries from the Kitely Market, but if you are on a hypergrid, it's a lot easier. It's kind of enabled by default. The grids don't have to do anything, and it's become the marketplace for the hypergrid. And as you can see, that's where all the content growth has been. Merchants have really been embracing it, and I think that the Kitely Market, in combination with Linda Kelly, have done a lot to clean up the content rights issue in OpenSim, because there's now great sources for high quality free content that's fully licensed from Linda Kelly, and a good source for high quality, low priced content or reasonably priced content from the Kitely Market, which is also fully licensed. And that reduces any kind of people saying, oh, we can't get anything in OpenSim, we have to pirate content. Well, no, you don't. There's the content issue has been addressed quite a bit. Now, for me, one of the positive statistics, especially in the past year, has been the growth in readership. I mentioned earlier that we had about 33,000 active users in OpenSim, and for the most part, the readership of Hypergrid Business has been between 20 and 30,000 unique readers a month. That has jumped up to over 100,000 a month in the last few months. Over the past 30 days, according to Google Analytics, I just checked it this morning, we had nearly 125,000 unique readers and about 250,000 total page views. So these are all people coming to Hypergrid Business. Most of them, unfortunately, are not coming for OpenSim. They're coming for the VR headset QR codes and the headset reviews. But hopefully they're looking at, some of the OpenSim related ads and content and maybe getting interested in it. That was the idea. That's why I started covering virtual reality in the first place, because I see from the very beginning, I saw OpenSim as the natural progression into a virtual reality metaverse. I thought that we were the way to do this. So that's kind of why I've been really, really focusing on VR And now the majority of the readers are coming for the VR content. So can OpenSim make the jump to VR? And that's something that I'm not sure about. I listened to the previous presentations earlier today, and I talked to a lot of the folks. I know that Moses is working on a web-based viewer, and the platform that they've picked does support mobile-based VR. So maybe in theory someday, um, uh, I, I really don't know. I'm seeing a lot of social VR happening on other platforms that are VR from the ground up, like AltSpace VR, like VR Chat. Folks like Sinewave Space are building free regions that you can have, that you can get started in, that is natively a VR based on Unity. A lot of stuff is happening. The investment seems to be on that side of it rather than over here, and that's kind of really worrying. So we do have Oculus Rift support with the Control Studio Viewer. We are open source. We do have a large and very varied ecosystem. We do allow user-created content. Those are all great things. We do not have a usable VR viewer. We do not have a strong use case for VR in OpenSim yet. I'm hoping that somebody will come up with one, but I haven't seen one yet. We don't have free region hosting for OpenSim for VR users. I think that's something that would be super useful, but we're going to have scalability issues that we have to deal with first. And of course, name recognition for OpenSim. I think that will come if we can address the other issues. Meanwhile, on the virtual reality side, I just got stats from Super Data last week, and there's now 84 million virtual reality headsets that are mobile based in use, and another 4 million of console and PC based headsets. So this is kind of what it looks like. Pretty much 98% of the headsets are mobile based. A tiny little sliver are PC based, and a tiny little sliver are console based. So if you're thinking about where to go to address the biggest market, we do need to have a mobile-based VR viewer for OpenSim. Right now, the Control Studio Viewer is PC-based, and it is difficult also to use. We've got frame rate problems and interface issues as well before it can be really usable. Those have to be fixed. There's some surveys about what VR users want, and what they want is, first of all, virtual tourism and travel. They want movies and videos. They want live events. They want home decorating stuff. They want educational content, and they want games. So games, as you can see, pretty much at the bottom of this list. Virtual travel is great on mobile headsets because basically this is 360 videos and 360 photos, and it puts you right there. As far as users are concerned, and as me as well, you really do feel like you've been teleported somewhere else. Even when it's not fully 3D, but kind of like a 360 picture that's around you, or a 360 video that's around you, and doesn't really have depth, it still kind of gives you the sense of being somewhere else. And it is very, very cool. I do demos for people of virtual reality headsets, like regular people, and that's what they love. They love the videos. They love the virtual movie theater. They love the travel apps. So that is definitely exciting. I'm not seeing a lot of use for OpenSim, though, in these categories. So that's also a very worrying thing. So I'm told to wrap up. This is my contact information, Maria at hypergridbusiness.com. The slides are also online, and I just posted the link in World, and here it is on the slides as well. And then if you have any questions, you can text me, or you can pass them along through I guess anybody else really, or local, yeah, regular people. Yeah, so a lot of the media attention is based on the gadget writers and the tech writers, and we get demos. So I've had some fantastic demos of like the HTC Vive and stuff that were just amazing and mind-blowing. But I have to say that the best headset I've actually used when I take out to, like, say, library groups and school boards and, you know, local business offices, the one that people really have been really loving lately is the Daydream View headset. That's just blowing people away. The controller is so easy to use. The price is on target. It's very user-friendly interface. People are really, really loving it. If you're out in the market for a new phone and a new headset, I strongly recommend the Pixel phone and the Daydream View headset as is the thing you should be aiming for.
That's a great place to stop. Thank you, Maria, for the tip on the Daydream Viewer headset and Pixel phone, and for a terrific presentation. As a reminder to our audience, you can see what's coming up on the conference schedule at, again, conference.opensimulator.org. Following this session, the next session will begin at 1:30 p.m. in this region and is entitled Spanish Language Learning at Escape, Using Virtual Worlds to Teach Language. Also, we encourage you to visit the OSCC16 Poster Expo on the Expo 3 region to find accompanying information on presentations and explore the Hypergrid Tour resources that are in Expo 2. And also take a look at all of the sponsor and crowdfunder booths located throughout all of the Expo regions. Thank you again, Maria, and thank you to the audience, and see you at the next session.